Okay, did a project, a Glock 19. I was looking for a different carry gun, particularly during the winter months. This is actually December in southern New Mexico. Probably going to get colder, but right now it's actually not too bad for t-shirts. I have been carrying a Glock 43. One of the things about the Glock 43 though is you've got your little tiny 6-round mags. The gun is, I believe, 21.5 ounces loaded. The Glock 19 I built is 29.5 ounces loaded. So get a lot more ammunition, a lot more magazine choices, things like that. Also have an RMR and a threaded barrel and a window cut slide. The lower I picked up from combatarmory for about $96 shipped. Picked up the slide from Brownells. I did the RMR from, well, the RMR I've had. The barrel is American Tactical. I got it through Grabagun. I got the slide parts thing from Midway. All the internals are basically just stock Glock except for the barrel. And then one other piece, and that's the little back piece here, the striker control device, called the Gadget. And this wound up being 80 bucks. It's basically a back plate replacement. What it does, if you haven't seen it, the plate sits nice and flat like it normally would, but when you start to pull the trigger, the plate comes out, and then, you know, it kind of makes a little flipping kind of thing. You don't actually see this moving when you're shooting. You know, obviously you're paying more attention to what's going on up top. The reason for it, though, a lot of people wind up with a Glock leg because they have the gun and they holster it and something gets in the way and the trigger gets depressed and the gun goes off and shoots themselves, you know, they shoot themselves in the legs, whatnot. So this device, essentially, as you're holstering, if you put your thumb on the back of the pistol as you're holstering and anything gets in the way, that device starts to push, and you can feel it in your thumb. Now, if I hold as hard as I can and I push as hard as I can, the trigger is going to work. It's going to operate, but it takes a lot of effort. So, since I do appendix carry, this is hopefully going to keep me from shooting myself someplace that a bullet would be really, really bad. Since appendix carry, I mean, you've got, you know, obviously things you don't want to lose, but also femoral arteries and such. You know, that's just all kinds of bad kind of stuff you don't want to have happen. I added the suppressor night sights to it. With the suppressor sights and the Gadget, looking at about 700 bucks total, not counting the RMR. Which is about what a Glock MOS is going to cost you anyway, without the little window cut thing, without the threaded barrel. And I don't think they come with the suppressor night sights either. So, doing it yourself, putting it together, you know, it's a nice little project. Plus, you know, you can do a little bit more for your money than if you just go stock and then start replacing pieces. I have found that this gun does not like the Winchester white box, Walmart Winchester 115 grain. What happens, and I've loaded up 20 rounds here, what happens is the slide doesn't go fully back into battery, and we'll see if I can replicate that here. So it had to work perfectly because, you know, I had said that it wouldn't. What has been happening with those is the pistol will stop right about here. And so it's hard for you to even really see it, and you definitely don't notice it until you're trying to work the trigger and the trigger is not operating. So the Winchester whites are not doing very well. The other ammunition I've shot through, it's all been fine. I've done 50 grain ammunition, which moves at like 2,000 feet per second. 147 grain Golden Sabers have all been fine. I just got a deal on some 124 grain Aguila. I picked up 2,000 rounds for 360 bucks, so not too shabby there. And we'll see how we do with the 124. I haven't shot it yet, so that's pretty good. Low. That one. Tight. well, I need to spend more time getting used to my RMR, I guess. But, you know, everything kind of made it into the center there, which is nice. The ammunition fed just fine. If you're looking to do an interesting little gun project and you haven't messed around with Glocks, you know, as cheap as you can get these lowers right now, and then, you know, you've got a lot of options on the upper. You can do the Zev things for like $400 or something for the slides. But, you know, the one from Brownells is good quality. It looks good. The fit and finish is nice. You know, there's a little bit of fingerprints and whatnot on the side, that it's not a blemish in the finish or anything. And then you do have control over things like, you know, do I want to put on the striker device, or do I want to put on the threaded barrel? So, there we go. This is my Glock 19 project.